Well, there it is, guys. She-Hulk episode 9 just blew up the internet, provided a lot of different stuff, and gave us a huge meta, breaking the fourth wall, literally shoving that wall to the ground and introducing a lot of different and unique concepts. But this is the season finale for She-Hulk, and I gotta say, this is actually one of the better season finales in my opinion, and I'm gonna talk about that, and I'm gonna defend that for a second, because I was thinking this was gonna be quite a big of a mess. But hi guys, my name is Zach. Thank you so much for watching this. I love talking Marvel, TV, geek stuff, all sorts of things. I'm one of the few people that stays up at midnight to watch these things, so we can have a great conversation down below. So make sure to leave your thoughts down below, as well as hit that like and subscribe button, because I'll definitely still be doing this for Andor, and of course when Secret Invasion comes out, and all sorts of those other Marvel and Star Wars shows. But, so, we got a lot of stuff to talk about in this episode. I'm probably going to miss a lot of different Easter eggs, so do keep that in mind. And specifically, the ending of this episode backloaded a lot from the end credit scene to literally the last final few moments. As this episode started, because last week ended in a really unique way, the fact that they're actually touching on, like, literally, Jen had a sex tape leak. And that's something that I would never expect to see in a Marvel show, or just in general something on Disney+, but it is something that is actually quite relevant to today's standards, specifically in social media, and I thought that was actually a unique perspective to take on. Now, the way this episode opened up, I didn't fully like. I was like, okay, this is starting to get a little bit messy, and it continued to get messy. Now, I liked, Jen's just kind of in this awkward stage. She doesn't know where to really go with her life, and, she's at a crossroads. She lost her job. She moved back in with her family. She lost her apartment, all sorts of things like that. No one's going to hire her. And she can't become She-Hulk because now she has to have that thing on her leg. But, she's like, I'm going to go see Emil Blonsky. My cousin won't not reply back, and maybe I can just stay with them for a couple days. They end up doing that. And, at the same time, her two best friends, Pugs and Nikki, are investigating intelligentsia or whatever. And Pug introduces himself, goes in there, we finding out that Todd is the whole leader, which is something that, like, clearly we all knew. Like, that was, like, the most obvious and, like, relevant thing. Like, it was so stupid obvious. But all this sorts of things going up. And the second I saw the location they were in, I was like, wait, wasn't that from the trailer where Emil Blonsky's Abomination was wearing, like, a white t-shirt? And I'm like, yeah, that literally is it. And then, of course, I knew he was going to be the special guest. And then I figure out, oh, they mentioned that he has a lodge that they're going to, so everything's going to collide. Jen goes down there, Nikki shows up, the Hulk shows up, Titania shows up, and it becomes a fucking mess. Like, I was sitting there, I'm like, this is awful. This is god-awful. And even Todd takes some serum and becomes the Green Hulk, another Hulk, which was stupid. It started to lose me. And then the fourth wall got broken. And Jen ends up, like, literally, it goes to the MCU screen on Disney+, and Jen breaks through and goes to assemble, and then she walks the entire lot and goes to the Marvel Studios. She wants to speak to Kevin Feige. Which is insane. She's scrolling through the disclosure, and then all these guards start attacking her. And all the Easter eggs leading into here, it was insane. And I loved this. Like, maybe it won't be for you, but I truly loved this meta-ness. Because it literally just made fun of the entirety of their show, as well as making fun of all the MCU shows, pretty much. In all of just 10 minutes. Which I thought was kind of fucking brilliant. And out of everything of this show, I've had a lot of issues with certain things, but this worked. At least for me, it did. And I was sitting there waiting for it to be Kevin Feige, and it wasn't. It was a fucking robot named Kevin, and it's showing the entire MCU and how this robot decides what happens in the MCU. And then Jen sits down and is like, how about I give you ideas? How about I do this? It's my show and all these things. And the fact that she even went to the writing room and, like, yelled at them, and these elements were hilarious to me. It reminded me of, like, something from 30 Rock, which is, like, a great behind the scenes of, like, stuff from, like, SNL and stuff. So I really dug that, and seeing her whole discussion with this robot and making the jokes about the daddy issues and how they should change this, and this should take place during the day, and the Hulk doesn't need to be there, and maybe they could drop in Daredevil because she wants to be, she wants to have Matt Murdock again, and she makes a joke about, like, going down on him and shit like that, which again, like, fucking smashing him, which was funny. Like, these all work for me. Like, it's such cringe humor at times, but like those moments worked. So this all leads in, and then they go back, and it's all settled. She ends up, again, saying she's going to sue Todd. The cops are there. Titania is kind of just filming everything. Matt Murdock jumps in. Then they get that. Pug makes some jokes there. And it was all fun. Like, I was smiling and laughing my ass off through that entire meta sequence. And then it was just really nice to see, like, Matt Murdock interacting with her family. And I really like Jen and him together. Like, I hope we get a little bit more of that in the future. I hope they play off that more. I think they have a really good chemistry with one another, Tatiana and Charlie Cox. But then it gets even bigger. Because the Hulk shows up. And the second he showed up, I knew this was going to happen. He says, hey, I just got back from Sakaar. And I see this, he's like, I want to introduce you guys to someone. And I'm like, no fucking way, no fucking way. And they introduce him to his son. So he had a son while he was there. And I think we saw a lady like behind him, which I'm assuming is the mother. That is huge for the MCU. And they even mention it like a little bit in that meta whole thing where it's like, well, we need to have him in here because if we don't, then it's not going to set up this. And she's like, save it for the movie. And there were a lot of fun jokes in there where, you know, Kevin was even saying like, oh, you need to, you know, do this off screen so we can save the CGI because the team's already moved over to something else. And she's like, what do you mean? And, you know, then you hear the Wakanda theme, which again was funny because that is true because Wakanda Forever is the next thing that we're getting in the MCU. But we got his son. What? I mean, this was something that, like, I assumed was going to happen, but, like, the fact that it even happened was, like, a huge, big bomb drop. And then we find out that Abomination, at the end credit scene, is going with Wong back to Carmitage, which, again, huge stuff. Like, I overall, like, She-Hulk's over, and I'm gonna have a full, like, short ranking of all the episodes together later today, but this finale actually like made me like the show more, even though I had issues with the certain elements of this, and I still don't think the show was perfect, but I had fun with it. I had fun with this show, and I'm excited to see wherever we see She-Hulk and Tatiana Maslany's Jennifer Walters next. She got her job back, all sorts of things like that. And she's smashing Daredevil, and we have Hulk's son, and we know that she can go meta and talk to a Kevin Feige robot that makes the decisions for the MCU, which is just insane. I don't know. This episode kind of broke me, and in all the right ways in certain places, and I'm happy that it played out in the same way, even though it's kind of cringy for some people. I can understand that. Maybe some people find it cheesy. I dug it. And the X-Men line, I cannot forget to talk about that little joke that she said where she goes, hey, I asked about it, like, gave you the little thumbs up. That was just perfect. Thank you so much again, guys, for watching this. You guys are really all the best. I had a blast talking She-Hulk with you guys the last 9 weeks of this, and I can't wait to talk with you guys about the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. I can't wait to talk with you guys about Wakanda Forever, Black Adam, and all sorts of other movies and TV shows coming out for the rest of the year and just next year as well. So thank you so much again for joining me, guys. I had a blast. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and of course, until next time, stay classy.